Hey trainers, Captain Johnson here with the results from the Lawence Tempest Cup tournament. Had a lot of really great battles here, and yeah, just really had fun. My lineup here has a lot of the typical meta picks, but I decided to put Tropius at the front to try to get some people to use hard counters to lead with. And my first opponent actually ended up having basically the same lineup, except instead of having a Tropius, he ended up having an Abomasnow. I open with Lantern, and my opponent opens with Altaria, which is not a very good matchup for me, but I don't know what he has in the back, and I don't want to switch to something that is gonna just get completely mutilated, so I let this one play out. Now here he switches to Skarmory, which would usually be kind of bad for Celio, but by baiting out a couple shields, I'm actually able to turn the tides and end up fanning out his Skarmory with a decent amount of health left. Here I don't really have the type advantage, but Body Slam being neutral and being able to get spammed like that really helps me take him down. And then I come into this Altaria just to finish him off and try to build up some charge. He's already got a charge move built up, but it's not quite enough to feint me, so with my HP advantage, I'm able to take the first match. Here I lead with Lantern again, and he actually leads with Celio, which forces him into a switch to Altaria, which lets me swap into Celio to take down his Altaria. I don't go through the trouble of using an Aurora Beam yet because it's so easy for him to shield. I'd rather use up the small amount of energy, but I build up to an Aurora Beam anyway just to keep the threat in his mind. And here I have the type advantage versus him, so it's basically just me using charge moves whenever I feel like it, and I'm able to load up one Thunderbolt before I KO him so I can use it on whatever's next. Luckily, that happens to be a Skarmory, so at this point, I know I have this match as a lock. My next opponent actually has a lot of really interesting legacy mons, and what I've noticed was he had 2 dragons, so that kind of made me want to use some ice against him. He comes in with Lapras, which actually should be tankier than Celio, but since he's got the ice type fast move on it, it ends up getting double resisted and lets me really just spam him with the body slams without taking too much damage in return. He's tired of it by this point, so he goes ahead and swaps out to Magneton, but I switched to Steelix pretty quickly as to avoid any damage, and I just go for some crunches to take down his Magneton and let him use his attacks on me without shielding. And I decide to block this just because I know I can get another crunch off and take his Lapras. Comes in with Altaria, and I have this Celio with a fully charged Aurora Beam, and he's sans shields right now, so it's pretty much GG there. Come back in. I'm really expecting him to pull out that Magneton first off. That's why I use Steelix, but even versus Tropius, I've had some matches where, depending on shielding, this doesn't end too poorly, so I just let it play out, see what he does for shielding. And first and foremost, definitely want to avoid getting stuck into a swap. Now, here I switch as soon as possible to the Celio. And I go for the Body Slam here because Dragonite's actually a pretty glassy Pokemon. So I figured I'd be able to take him down pretty much. Now I have the shield advantage here, but Skarmory's not that hard of a counter to Altaria, so I'm pretty worried here. I tried tapping on the Sky Attack once and it didn't really work, and I had changed my mind to use the Flash Cannon, and I was pretty sure that was a bad mistake because he got his charged move off, but luckily I was able to survive with just a little bit of health left. Now here I go against Eagle, and he's got a lot of really interesting sort of counter meta picks, so I'm not quite sure what to use. I run with Lantern again because it's pretty safe. This Piloswine's not taking a lot of damage because I have Charge Beam on my Lantern, and what you'll probably notice here is I encounter a graphical error. I didn't really know what was going on. I thought he swapped into this Tropius. That's why I swapped into my Altaria, because I thought I had him trapped. But then, well, yeah, that happens. And by this point, I'm pretty confused. I don't know why his timer had expired that quickly. So I'm just trying to get through his Pokemon. I know Quagsire's Stone Edge is a pretty strong threat to Altaria, so I'm trying not to let him land one on me, but I'm not able to get him down in time. I do actually clutch one last Sky Attack, and he ends up burning his last shield because of it, so that could give me somewhere to stand in this match. But he's still got this Tropius here, which is pretty brutal for most of my lineup. But what you'll see right here is I had a Thunderbolt charged, and the reason why I didn't use it was because I didn't realize his Piloswine was still alive. I was trying to hold on hope that I could feint him with the quick moves and then one-shot his Piloswine, because I didn't realize that graphical issue earlier was actually that Piloswine just fainting. Now coming back in, I open with my Tropius, and then we come into a bit of a mirror match after I take away his Alolan Graveler. And I went for the Leaf Blade first, trying to sort of bait a shield, but he didn't go for it, and he let the Aerial Ace through too, which, you know, was fine for me. I go right into a Sky Attack because I don't really want him to hit me with a Stone Edge because I'm not quite sure how much damage it would do. And I know that he's got the Tropius in the back, which doesn't really need any charge attacks anyway. At this point, I'm 1-1 with Eagle, so the pressure's kind of on. I open with Skarmory, which forces him to switch. He switches to Lantern, and I take out my Tropius. I let him hit me with a Thunderbolt because I know it's not going to come near feigning me, and I'm pretty sure, especially if I land a Leaf Blade, that I won't leave this matchup with very much damage, but he ends up going for another Thunderbolt, making me waste a shield. Here I just go for the Leaf Blade just to get some kind of damage in, and he actually uses his charge attack, which personally I wouldn't have done. I would have let the Skarmory feint me out, and it could have given the Skarmory the chance to do a couple charge attacks versus this Celio. But as is, I'm able to get off an Aurora Beam on his Skarmory and get rid of it, and he's got his Tropius out, but that's fine because I still have that Skarmory in the back. And one shield advantage, HP advantage, and a serious type advantage, and there's not really much that could have been done at that point. So at this point in the tournament, I'm 3-0. I ended up getting paired again with Anthony, and here I opened with Walrein, which seems to be going okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I said Walrein, I meant Celio. Here I get off a couple body slams. I have enough energy to do 2 of them. And then he fires off one, and I'm thinking I can get a third one off, but I guess he's able to get 2 off in a row as well. Which is fine. I switched to Lantern, which has all the type advantages in the world against Celio, so it's pretty nice layout, and since he's got Skarmory in the back, it's not really anything I need to be worried about. And that's actually a big reason I ran Lantern so much, is because in practice I ran into a lot of Skarmory, and the reason why is because Tropius is so well countered by Skarmory, and you're able to basically both counter Tropius and have energy for 2 charges afterwards without even using any shields. So it's actually really great to have a Skarmory, but at the same time, it's kind of bad to have that many things weak to electric type, because Lantern's pretty adaptable, and in my opinion probably one of the more important Pokemon I used in the whole tournament. Now at the start of this match, he actually swapped out from his Skarmory because I had Steelix. He said it kind of threw him off. I actually don't have Bite on my Steelix, so really it was a matchup he wasn't going to lose anyway. But maybe he was trying to hold on to his Skarmory just to keep me from beating him with a Tropius at some point. And it's not like a bad loss for my Steelix versus his Skarmory. It's just it's just something where even if he didn't swap out, I probably would have lost that one unless I really did something tricky, and I can't really think of anything off the top of my head where that could have happened. Here I swap into my Lantern because I know he's got Water Gun on his, and I can both get my charge attacks off faster and probably do similar in quick damage. And I'm just going for body slams there because I'm not really sure exactly how long I'm going to survive, because as soon as he gets off a sky attack, I knew I was going to faint. Hopefully you enjoyed those matches. I know I certainly enjoyed playing them. I had a lot of fun in Lawrence, and I definitely look forward to going back. And with that, I'd just like to thank you guys for watching, and if you have any ideas for future videos, maybe challenges, I do a lot of raid challenges, as you might be able to see on my channel. But I also do a lot of PvP. I'm having a lot of fun with PvP. I've got 3 tournaments under my belt, 2 of which I won. So anything can happen in a tournament situation. It doesn't matter how much you prepare, but I really have a lot of fun in the preparation, and a lot of times getting my butt kicked is pretty fun too. So if you have any desire to either fight me or even have suggestions on what I should use if you see any more of my videos, just feel free to comment, and either your friend code or anything like that. And, let's just all get better.